Jordan Moore, John Jackson, and joined on the phone now by Justin Wilcox. Thank you, Coach, for letting us take you away from your prep here for a few minutes. And we're looking forward to talking some defense. Sark talked nothing but offense in his segment. So tell us, Coach, how did you grade out the team's first performance under you on Saturday against Fresno?
Well, there was a lot of good film to watch. I thought the guys really came to play. We weren't perfect by any means. We had plenty to clean up, but we saw a lot of positives. A lot of guys played the game, and some new guys gained some valuable experience. So it was great to be able to watch that tape with a win under our belt and take the good with the bad and move forward to next week.
Hey, Coach, we've talked so much about how the offense moves at that up-tempo, and one thing that sort of goes unnoticed is that because Fresno State ran a similar tempo of offense, the defense had to get ready for the up-tempo as well. How well did you feel your guys handled that up-tempo, and, is it a byproduct because you see it every day in practice?
I thought for the most, it is great we see it every day. There's people do it different ways. Some people sub, some people don't. There's different tempos even within the up-tempo. Some kind of have the muddle huddle. Some go that NASCAR pace where it's as fast as they can go. So you see a little bit all of it. I thought for the most part we handled it well. We had 2 drives really during the game. We didn't perform as well as we should have, and I think all the guys agreed with that after we sat and watched the tape. But for the most part, I thought the guys did a heck of a job getting lined up, getting the calls, and even making some checks when we got into those tempo situations that got us into some good situations defensively, and we're able to make some stops.
Coach, when you look at Stanford, how much of the Stanford challenge is scheme and how much is just plain matching their physicality?
I think it's a combination of both those things. They obviously have excellent players, and they got a great scheme. They're different than a lot of teams that we face in terms of the style of play that they use. It's been extremely effective for them. They're a talented team, so we know we're going to have to be on our A game come Saturday.
And, Coach, we've seen and we've talked about on this show the quarterback Hogan and, what he brings to the table. Give us a little scouting report on what you expect to see from him on Saturday.
Well, I think he's shown since he's been there that he can do all the things that they want him to do. He can throw the ball intermediate and down the field. They got weapons outside to test you deep, and then obviously with their run game, the 2-back run game, they'll try and pound you, and then he's done quite a bit of quarterback run stuff that you got to defend as well. So they're very multiple in what they do, and he's done it all for them.
Sark alluded to this, that Stanford might be evolving a little bit with their personnel, veteran quarterback, veteran receivers, smaller running backs in this particular team. Do you see them maybe changing a little bit when you look at them on tape, changing a little bit offensively, going away from just some of that ground and pound and maybe opening it up a little bit more?
Well, they've used different groups that, and again, kind of a pro-style type offense where they use a lot of different groupings. So even in the last game, they used, 21 personnel, 12 personnel, 11 personnel, 22 personnel, 23 personnel. So they still use the tight end. They still use the backs. They'll spread you out and get into a 3-wide look. So you've kind of seen all of it from them, and I'm sure they'll have wrinkles that they did not put on tape, and so we got to prepare for all of it.
Coach, we've talked about what we perceive was an excellent a game played by your secondary in particular. Of course, the loss of Josh not being back there, but Adoree stepping in, playing a big role. Of course, Chris Hawkins getting a chance to start, of course, and in the way that secondary played, being on the field for the first time together. How pleased were you with their effort in the secondary in terms of what they did against Fresno State?
Well, I thought the guys, again, were ready to play. They were focused in, had a really good grasp of what we were doing. For Gerald and Leon and Chris Hawkins and Adoree, those guys played a lot of snaps, and they hadn't played much before. Obviously, Leon played some last year, but it was big for them to get in there and get comfortable, and I thought they did a heck of a job. And, again, there was plenty to clean up on the tape, but they were prepared, ready to go, and I know they're going to be excited to play again this Saturday.
Since the first time I talked to you, you were always asked about system, and you really just like to say, tell me what the other team's playing, and I'll tell you, how I'm going to stop them, and that your job is just to stop them and not necessarily to stick with a system. So how much do you deviate with your scheme from week to week, depending on opponent, and how much do you put your defense out there and try to dictate what the offense is going to do?
Well, I think it's you're not going to like the answer, but it's a combination of those things. I think you got to have enough in your menu to defend the different types of offenses that you see, and whether these guys are getting into two backs and trying to run the ball and play action you, or they're going to spread it out and you want to get into some nickel style defenses and four-man fronts. So I think you have to have both of it, and then it comes down to matchups. Where do you think your best matchups are, and then whether it's pressuring or covering or whatever you do, you have a plan going in on how you want to attack each personnel group and what they're doing out of that group. So I think it's having that menu, put it in spring ball and fall camp, and then pulling from it. And I think that's important in this day and age of college football.
You know, Coach, one thing you guys did exceptionally well last Saturday was third downs. 2 of 12 was Fresno State on third downs. You know, in practice, because the fans don't know, how much of an emphasis is put on that down in terms of making sure the guys are focused, or maybe doing some little tweak to the system that, make sure you get off the field?
Yeah, absolutely. Third downs are huge. We stress that. Everything we do at practice is situational, so we have periods that are designed just for third downs. Obviously, having awareness of the down and distance, and when teams go tempo, it takes some quick thinking, and so the guys are got to be plugged in. They got to understand what the situation is, where they are in the field, because a lot of these teams, third down, when you get into the our side of the field, is just like second down because everybody's going for it on fourth down. So you got to understand that too. So it's a huge emphasis for us because third down, obviously the longer the third down, the better chance you have to get off the field. But our guys did a good job. We had a quarterback scramble for a long one that was we didn't play very well up front, but other than that, the guys did a really, really good job on third down.
Take me through adjustments and how you handle that. We always talk about defensive adjustments. How much are you doing in between series? How much are you doing at halftime? And maybe use Leonard Williams as the example. We did talk about this a little earlier, that they were cut blocking Leonard on Saturday, and it seemed like all of a sudden he turned into a fly swatter, and he was really a pass defender. He ends up actually stepping in a passing lane and getting an interception, and he almost had another one. So how do you handle in-game adjustments?
Well, I think it's huge, and our guys. I thought all the coaches during the game noticed that when the guys came to the sidelines, they were plugged in, ready to go. We did have to make some adjustments. They were using a lot of cut protection, so we didn't pressure them as much because the ball was coming out so fast. And Coach Wilson got with the D-line, and Coach Stern with the linebackers, and Coach Hayward with the DBs, and we went over all the adjustments for each group. And some games there's more than others, and it really just depends on what that team's doing. But you want to make sure you have you get enough bullets in your gun for whatever they're doing that you can make that adjustment. Our guys have done a great job throughout camp, and in the first game of being able to handle that, and that's a big part of it. So I commend the guys for that, and the coaches did a great job with it, and we're going to need to continue to do that throughout the season.
All right, thank you, Coach. It is going to be a fun chess match this weekend. Justin Wilcox taking on David Shaw and that Stanford offense. You can watch the game right here at the Lab. We're going to come right back to the Lab to wrap up Trojans Live on K.